Hello. So again we'll discuss one question from CAT 2020 slot 1. It's moreover related to time spent distance. So let's move to the question now. So it's given leaving home at the same time Amal reaches office at 10:15 am if it travels at 8 kilometers per hour, and at 9:40 am if it travels at 15 kilometers per hour. So this is my basic information given. Leaving home at 9:10, at what speed in kilometers per hour must you travel so as to reach office exactly at 10 am? That means the total time taken is nothing but here 50 minutes. I'll just mark this part. Right. So now if I'll go through the information, let's assume that a person Amal's home is at this point. He is traveling to his office. If we're dealing with these kind of situations, these kind of conditions where the person is moving with variable speed and the distance is constant, I can always find out the total distance traveled. There are a lot of variations are there to work on these, but let's talk about one of the important format here. Now in this case, distance will always be n into n plus 1 into difference between the speed into difference between the time taken. Now this is an important one which you need to keep in mind if you're solving these kind of questions. When the distance is constant and the two people are moving with the variable speed, then I can always work on the ratio between their speed. Suppose if a person is, I'm giving you an example, a person moves with the speed of 30 kilometers per hour. He reaches his office 5 minutes late. If he moves with the speed of 40 kilometers per hour, he reaches his office 13 minutes early. Then what's the distance between his house to his office? Here I have to make sure that the ratio between the speed should be the consecutive value. Like here in this case it's 30 by 40, which is nothing but 3 by 4, which is ideally n is 2 n plus 1. Now in this case n is 3. I have to make sure that the speeds, the ratio of the speeds or the least ratio of the speed should be in the consecutive format. So here why, we'll discuss about that later. Let's talk about this thing here. So if we'll take the value, it's 3 into 4. Difference between the speed is nothing but 10 kilometers per hour, and the difference between the time taken, I was 5 minutes late, I'm 13 minutes early. That means the gap is nothing but 18 minutes, which I have to convert this in terms of hours. So if we'll solve this part, we can find out the distance is nothing but 36 kilometers. So I'll be utilizing this kind of method to solve these kind of questions here. So let's go by the information here. It's given this person A. So person A is there. He moves with the speed of 8 kilometers per hour and he reaches here by 10:15. But the same person A moves with the speed of 15 kilometers per hour. He reaches to the destination at 9:40. So let's try to identify the gap between these two numbers. Right, the gap between these two numbers. Right, so the gap between this is nothing but 35 minutes. Right, it's 35 minutes. So the gap is nothing but 35 minutes in this case. Why there is a gap? Because he has increased the speed. Due to this, the time taken is reduced here. Now here if we'll take the speeds, so speed in the first case by speed in the second case, the ratio is nothing but 8 by 15. The speeds are 8 and 15. The gap is nothing but 7 here. But as we have seen that I want the ratio as n is to n plus 1. So how do we convert this one? It's 8 by 15. It's a very simple process. The gap is 7, but I want the gap as 1 basically. So I'll have to divide this figure by 7. That represents I should divide this figure by 7 and this figure by 7. Now you can identify the first part in this case is nothing but 1.142857, and the second part is nothing but 2.142857. That's basically not required, just to understand that the gap is nothing but 1 here, right? So here n and n plus 1 are nothing but 8 by 7 and 15 by 7. So I'll apply the formula. My distance here is supposed to be nothing but n into n plus 1 into difference between the speed and the difference between the time taken. Now here the values, the figures are 8 by 7, 15 by 7, difference between the speed is nothing but 7, and the time taken, the difference is nothing but 35 minutes. So 35 by 60. Let's mark the figure in this format, right? So let's try to cancel out some of the figures here, or else let's cancel out this. 7 is cancelled. This is 5 times, 4 times, and this is 2 times. All the distance is nothing but 10 kilometers. So he's traveling for 10 kilometers and the time allotted is how much? 50 minutes. So the speed, so the new speed now will be nothing but distance, that is 10, and the time taken is about 50 minutes. Let's convert this in terms of hours, right? So it's a basic calculation. The speed is nothing but 12 kilometers per hour, right? So my speed will be 12 kilometers per hour, right? So that's all for today. Thanks for joining.